Hello, everyone, and good evening. This is Ekta Sehgal, founder director, Manas Wealth, a financial distribution firm and a firm which believes in mentoring, which believes in understanding how you think about money. What are your challenges? What are your thoughts? What is the bias that you have in mind? And a lot about it rather than just executing the plan to meet your goals. A word of compliance: whatever we will be talking about today will be for creating awareness to talk about something which for sure is very close to my heart. International Women's Day was on 8th of March. This year's theme: break the bias. A lot of biases have been spoken about, a lot of thoughts have been shared by many and more. But there is this one particular bias not many talk about. Perhaps nobody really wants to bell the cat, which is money matters is a man's world. पैसे संभालने की जो क्षमता है वो केवल और केवल आदमियों में है. I keep saying that I aren't a feminist and I don't have a problem with the opposite gender because I feel each of us is equal. I feel each of us has an inherent skill and ability to transfer into something which can lead results. We need to play to our strength. We need to work on our weakness and hone up our skills. But the question is, are we really willing to understand that? Um, what should I say? I was in a session before this where I had an opportunity to interact with a set of women who come from the humble background. We were celebrating International Women's Day with them, one of the most humbling experience. What were we discussing? We were discussing health, wealth, and happiness because these are the two most important things that impact the life of one and all, be it a man, be it a woman, be it just about anyone. Now, what I want to talk about is money matters really a man's world? If you think so, please share your thoughts and insights with me because I don't believe that money matters is a man's world. In fact, if men and women come together, they perform an perfect mix of dialogue, bringing the thought process to be able to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. Men view money as success, and women view money as security. Now, how beautiful an amalgamation would be of success and security. I'm going to add a guest with me. Hi, Rina. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining in here.
Hmm.
I had invited a few women to be a part of this conversation today so that they could come here, share their thoughts. But I guess Rina is one of those brave ones who indeed believes that we need to bell the cat. Rina, money
Yes,
matters is a man's world. Do you agree with it? What are your thoughts on this?
absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay, because if we if we just take first of all, uh, in today's scenario, we have progressed so much that women have become very self-reliant. They're working, they're earning their own money, and they're managing their lives, entirely on their own. They're investing and, growing their wealth. So it's happening. It's just happening. And then if we take a conventional home, like where the is the man who earns the money, then also it is handed over to the one who runs the home. So this proves that money is never a man's domain. You will have to have that caring attitude, the innate caring attitude to, hold on to your money and make it grow and make it, the effect will be there in your family. So, the money has never been a men's domain, really. No.
Fantastic. Do you manage your financial affairs yourself?
Uh, to certain extent, yes, I do. Though I'm not very confident, like what I'm doing right now, I'm doing uh, right, correct, okay, quote unquote. I'm not so sure. So I need to have experts' help to make me understand that what I'm doing is the right thing to do.
Wonderful. Thank you for acknowledging that you're trying to do, but yet you need help, which is
I
absolutely okay to reach out to a professional who can support you, guide you, handhold you, mentor you to take the right decision in conjunction
Right.
with you, because it's a partnership, where the financial service provider and the client are in it together to win it.
Sure.
But I'm glad to hear your thoughts that it definitely is not a man's world.
Yeah.
Now, what is important to understand for Rena or for all those who are watching us right now on Facebook or YouTube, however, how many of you are there right now or would watch this conversation at a later point in time, one of the biggest reasons why money matters is still a man's world is not because women don't have the capability, not
Yeah.
because we don't have the knowledge. But the reason is we don't want to get the knowledge. We just don't want to do it. We are purely complacent about this. And as per statistics, 33% of the women world over feel that they are not financially confident to manage that money which has given them the financial independence. And the reason is because there is fear. There is fear of failing. There is fear of losing. Now, why would someone fear this? Hi, Rekha. Thank you for joining in. Thank you so much, dear. Why would we fear failing? Don't we attempt many things in life? Don't we start learning many things? Don't we tell our kids that, hey, it's okay to fail? It's okay to make a mistake? Because we need to understand that by not getting involved in money matters because we feel we will make a mistake, the penalty that you pay by making a mistake is much larger by not making that mistake. And one of the major reasons that this happens is Sangeeta, thank you for sharing, saying lack of knowledge also is a big barrier. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm coming to that. Stereotyping from the very time that we are born. My favorite line: girls cannot do maths. You cannot be an engineer. You can't do this. You can't do that. There is always a and can't. That you cannot do this. You cannot do this. You cannot do this. There is never a point that has been conveyed that you can do it and you will do it. These I can and I will only happens when there is Women's Day or there are some important days that impact the life of a woman. Why not otherwise? Now, why does this happen? One, as I said, stereotyping, myths that have been created in the minds from the very beginning. The other big reason is because there is so much of stereotyping that we are made to believe in, we are becoming a victim of something called financial infidelity. Financial infidelity means that information is being hidden by the spouses, by our male counterpart. Research says 60% of the couples hide or lie about financial information. When we don't have the information and we don't even have the knowledge to question that, we really are a victim of financial infidelity. And this financial infidelity is not just related to our spouse, it is also related to our children. Today, while talking to this group of women who are barely educated, we were trying to understand what does it take to actually become equipped to take your financial decisions. I asked them a question कि आप अपना घर का खर्चा कैसे चलाते हैं? One of them answered that we classify each of our expenses and then keep a tab on it, how much we are spending, and we have those bifurcations in place. Very innocently, they were answering that question. But if you look at it from a technical parlance, that simply means budgeting. Because for them, the income that is coming to them is from their husband, because he's the only bread earner, which means you know the income source, you know your expenses. You just have to see what the gap is. That is your net worth. Very simply. There isn't a rocket science, right, to really understand these concepts. But because we are never ever, made to think about these things, and hence we shy away. Sangita is saying we feel unsure about where to invest, how much and how to invest. We spend the money for things instead of keeping aside anything, and then there is nothing to invest. You're absolutely right, Sangita. I think it is important to understand that it is not that first you spend and then what is left you invest. It has to be the other way around. You plan your investments, that this is what I would want to invest. That is where you do your budgeting. This much I will spend. This is going to be my savings. This is what is going to go into investments. There is a rule of doing budgeting: 50, 30, 20. Very simple, easy to understand. 50% expense on all your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% by default should go into investments or repaying any expensive loan that you have. I have spoken about budgeting umpteen number of times at on my page, Manas, but yet we don't get it. We are still a victim of financial infidelity. Once we do budgeting, then comes a very important aspect that if you're investing, you have to invest it for a purpose, right? Or you'll just say that I just want to invest. No, it never happens that. How much so ever money you may have in abundance, there has to be a goal that is associated with it. If somebody says that I don't have goals, I think time is to introspect and spend time with your own self to understand. That's another big myth. I don't have goals. That's another bias in our mind. I just want to invest to get returns. No. Or I have surplus money, so I thought I'll invest it. Well, really? Then, if that be the case, then why do you start reacting when the stock markets fall or your investment return goes down? Why are you then fearful? Because there are emotions that are playing in your mind, which is greed and fear. Now, we did the budgeting, we set goals. Now, how do you set goals? A woman, by default, is the fulcrum of a house. She decides the whole day what meals, she decides what to feed the child as per the age, how to nurture the child. She sets milestones, she observes the milestones of the child. She's the first one to get a hang if there is a delay in the milestone. If that be the case, how is it that we women would not know how to do goal setting? We would know what goal setting is, right? We are such a pro in it. We are so natural. That's another myth. आप गोल सेटिंग नहीं कर सकती हैं, आपको कैसे पता कि क्या गोल्स अचीव करने हैं? A life of a man and a woman goes through the same life cycle. They have the same set of goals. They have the same number of years for accumulation. But because women go through many changes in life, they have lesser number of years for accumulation, because you take a sabbatical when you have a child, you take a break when you have to take care of an ailing family member, or if you yourself are not well, or in order to take care of the baby, you might not just go on maternity leave, but you may just take a break from work and come back when you are ready to do so. And in this whole process, what happens is the corpus you collect is very minimal, which may not really suffice for your retirement. And as per research, again, women tend to live longer. And of course, with the medical science progressing so much, the life expectancy has definitely increased. We live much longer, quality of life. And so, hence, we need to actually manage our money much more effectively than how it used to be earlier. Because inflation is on the rise, our requirements are increasing by the day. And I think in the last 2 years, since the time the pandemic hit us, we have realized we can lead a good life with minimal resources. But at the same time, we have also realized that how important it is to plan our money. So we did budgeting, we did goal setting. Now, one of the goals of anybody and everybody should be creating an emergency fund. Now, let's again look at the good old days. Whenever there was a problem that would come in someone's life, the man of the house would reach out to the woman and tell her that, you know what, there is a challenge that has come and we need some money. I don't know how to manage that. The women would very nicely walk to the kitchen, open a box, pull out some money, and hand it over to the spouse. Right, Rita?
Yes.
That happens, right? That
Yes.
happened with my
Yeah.
grandmother and others. Now, what was that? She was saving for the rainy day, which in technical term is emergency fund,
Yep.
right? The only thing that I would add to it is that create an emergency fund for at least a period of 6 to 9 months. Is there a rocket science in it? No. Again, a myth. Oh, women cannot think for rainy days and so on and so forth. She already is doing it. So, how is it a matter of just man? It is a matter for every individual. Money management, financial management, investments is a life skill, which is gender neutral, which is, I would say, even age neutral. It is not just that we adults need to know about it. We need to hone up the skill in our kids also. And the sooner we do it, the better it is. Uh, I run 3 flagship programs for everybody, which is Fin Mentoring, specifically for women, Womentoring, and for kids, Kiddo Mentoring on money matters. Now, how did Kiddo Mentoring take birth? It was a result of a conversation with a child, where the child was my daughter, who was trying to negotiate with me and was trying to actually look at something. Welcome, Mila. Thank you for joining. She was looking to basically negotiate because she felt that the transaction that I offered her was not a fair deal or didn't have enough value to it. So, what was the transaction? And I love to share this example because I feel very proud that perhaps, and I don't think it's genetic that she gets to understand the financial value because both her father and mother come from that background. But genuinely speaking, so I told her give away 20 toys. In lieu of that, uh, and I paused. And then she immediately caught it and she said, what? So I said, you give 20 toys and I will give you five in lieu of them. And let me tell you, she was 3.5 then. So she waited for a second and then she said, why five? That's too less. So I said, okay. So let me give you a better offer. Instead of taking 20 toys, I'll give you five puzzles and two toys. She again thought for it and she felt that it's a notch better. But she knew that she's not going to make much way on this. So she accepted my offer. Because I told her that, five puzzles will stay with you for a longer time. You will get to spend more time doing them and, it'll help you understand a lot of things and so on and so forth. So I gave her a reason why she should. And the transaction was closed. So if a 3.5-year-old could figure out that where should I actually be putting my money, where I should be negotiating, what is the value associated with it, I am sure we adults have a lot more knowledge to understand these things. So please speak to your kids, talk to them, hone up their skills when they are young, allow them for a an allowance like a pocket money. Give them small, small goals or help them set those goals as to how they can achieve it. That's the only way that this myth that money matters is a man's world can be broken. And also, let me tell you that boys, young boys who eventually grow up to be man, when they start investing, because perhaps it comes naturally because they need to take care of the family and meet all the requirements and goals, they also many a times shy away from investments, especially when it comes to looking at growth oriented investments, for the simple reason that the exposure that they've had in their growing years hasn't been a very pleasant one. They are basically a victim of the legacy that they have seen over the years. Money matters is never spoken at home. If you don't speak about it, how would they know that it is absolutely okay to talk about it? Unfortunately, this skill is not even taught in schools for kids to understand, because generally kids tend to believe what their teacher tells them at any and every age. Maybe there might be a change in thought process. There is just one school of I know of where I did read that there was a financial awareness session which was created done for kids, and that was the thought process of the management that this must be done for them. And I was so happy that wow, this is actually happening, even if it's at just one school. So for all of you parents, reach out to your school, talk to your kids about money matters. It's so important. That's the only way we can break the myth. We have two wonderful ladies who have also joined us here on StreamYard. We have Ela, we have Rekha. Ela and Rekha, if you would like to share anything about your understanding whether money matters is a man's world, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, if you are comfortable. Otherwise, we'll proceed further. So let me know. And then I would also request you, while you're speaking, you could put your cameras on.
Hi, Ekta. Nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Hey, Rekha.
Hi.
So,
How are you?
yes, I'm all good. How are you?
Great. Good to have you here.
Yeah, same here. I'm so sorry I'm in the dark ambience today.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, Vivek suggested your session, and I'm joining it because I wanted to learn more about financial planning, and he suggested your name, and that's the reason I'm here. Because I actually wanted to make some investments, and I was wanted a wise decision, and then he suggested that why don't you attend her session, and that's the reason I'm here. I'm
Wonderful. So, do
glad
you
that
think, Rekha, money matters is a man's world?
I don't think so. I think that we have to step ahead now and look into it and see what is it all about. So I just want to learn more about it, and I think I'll be attending more of such sessions to know uh, deep into it. Although he
Wonderful.
makes me explain, but I think I need a better understanding from an expert.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you have taken this step and you have decided to embark on this journey, which is absolutely interesting and amazing. And I think,
Mhm.
the fact that a woman is talking about this myth, which is that money matters in the man's world, in itself is a testimony that it definitely is not. But let's hear what Ela has to share. Ela, what do you have to say?
Money matters. Till now, most of us were guided by our fathers or brothers. Okay. But I've been fortunate that my dad always encouraged me to make my own budget. इनफैक्ट समर हॉलीडेज में वो हमको एक बजट देते थे कि 2 महीने आप घर चलाओगे. So this, and we had to manage gifts also because my parents' anniversary falls in May. My brother's birthday used to fall in May. So apart from running the house, managing the budget, I used to save to buy gifts for them. तो मेरे फादर की guidance till now.
So you had a very stringent budget to meet all your goals in the month of May.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. In fact, I think it reminds me of my childhood. As a kid, both my brother and I were given pocket monies, and we were also given such small, small goals. buy gift for the parents' birthday, anniversary, or for my brother, or for Rakhi and all these festivals. And actually, what were they trying to do? They were basically trying making us understand the concept of financial planning. They were inculcating a discipline. Since we were getting monthly pocket money, and that's what happened in our salary also, we get monthly salary. And they were putting a discipline. They were putting up monthly targets for us. And I was a smart kid, so what I used to do is, I remember I was, I think, 5, when I used to get 5 rupees as pocket money. 5 rupees then was a good amount. And I never wanted to break that 5 rupee note. I wanted all it to be always intact. So I was a smart girl. I used to go to my father and said, I don't have change, can you give me some? So I would get the change from him and keep my 5 rupees intact. And I was able to meet my goals. Perhaps then I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just trying to enhance my money, you know. And I was getting interest-free loan from my father, right? Then gradually I started to understand a little more about it. I started saving. And let me confess, between my brother and me, of course, he's older than me, and his pocket money was slightly higher than mine because of the age difference. He would save more than I would, and hence he would always meet his goals without asking my father for that change. But then it taught me that I have to learn to live within my means, meet my expenses, at the same time meet my goal, which means I need to be disciplined, I need to plan better, and only then will I be able to achieve this. And then our parents said, okay, the one who saves more gets an incentive. Now it didn't make a difference to me because I was always already taking that incentive away from my father, by telling him, please, making that little puppy face, and he would give it to me. Then one day he said, I'm not going to give you any more change. Go break your 5 rupee note and figure it out for yourself. That was a lesson that we were learning. So I think it is important that we understand these small, small things, talk to our kids, tell them, because then when we grow up, as Ela said, we will remember these lessons. And a lot of people uh, actually mentioned that small kids, why should we stress them with money? You're not stressing them with money. Who's telling you to stress them with all these big, big jargons and concepts? Playful
Exactly.
manner, tell them. Like, for example, and I like to take examples more which are real and personal, which I have experienced. My daughter would say that, okay, I want to go to my grandmother's house. So we would ask her, how would you go? So we had once made her sit in an auto, and she saw that we gave money to the auto guy. So she had a toy auto. She said, I will sit in the auto and go. So she pretended that she's going to her grandmother's place. She picked up the auto, and then there was this, cartoon character sitting inside. And she tells that guy, Ki, auto bhaiya, take me to Nani house. And she gave him a coin. So which she understood that in order to get something, I have to pay for it. Allow the child to pay at the shop. When
Exactly.
all these things happen, make it experiential. They will never forget them. Take them to an ATM, take them to a bank. They'll understand. Tell them the history of money. It's very interesting when you tell the kids that, good old days, there was a barter system, then it led to the pirates coming and gold coin, and then pirates would come and steal it away, and then how the currency, the note got introduced and things like that. They would find it very fascinating. It is the bias is in our minds that we don't want to tell our kids. The bias resides within us, not outside. Most often than not, I have heard a lot of women say this. We don't get into this because there aren't too many role models. I have only one thing to say, and I have said this in the last couple of days, umpteen number of times. Look into the mirror, you'll find the role model. Today, when I was speaking to these women from humble background, when I told them that you're already doing budgeting, you're already creating an emergency fund, you're already doing goal setting, the smile on their face was worth millions. That, wow, I'm already doing this. Perhaps that will give them a little confidence. I mean, there are many examples that I can share that why women need to manage money. Women always take charge of a situation when there is an unfortunate event that happens. Very, very unfortunate. Why do we wait for that eventuality to happen to us? So many women turned entrepreneurs during COVID time. Did it mean that COVID taught them how to become an entrepreneur, or did the situation teach them? Or did they not have that skill before that? Money matters is not technical at all, actually. It's more about your own self. It's about spending time with yourself. If your husband is cheating on you with regards to money, the only way to catch it is to actually hone up your own skills. There are many and more cases where men hide their incomes and they foot all the expenses by their credit cards. Women also do that. Let me tell you, it's not again a gender thing. Nobody wants to talk about their money matters to each other. And that is leading to a huge unclaimed amount with the government organizations. That's your hard earned money for which you wanted to be independent. So, if you want to be independent, why don't you want to be confident? 33% is a huge number for women to say that they're not financially confident. And you know why they said that? Because they feel, or rather, they believe that they don't know or they cannot do it. Now, your belief is your belief. Really. Can someone change that? Again, look at the mirror and you will have an answer that who can change that belief. I can only talk about it. And I'm honestly speaking, I'm feeling so overwhelmed right now. And why? Because instead of me just talking to a laptop and doing a live session, I have four women here who are actually listening, contributing, and comprehending. And it's not that I feel great because you're listening to me, but I'm feeling great because you're actually wanting to understand about the money matters. So I think that myth is totally broken right now, here itself. Welcome, Ruhi. Thank you for joining. So
Thank
why
you. Thank you so much.
so why are we shying away? Ruhi, do you believe that money matters is a man's world? What is your thought on that?
Yes, somewhere or the other, I do believe. But I also believe that if any woman thinks that he or she can do, then impossible also says that I am possible. We just need the confidence. We just need the right path. That's it.
Brilliant. Thank you for being
Yes.
so candid about it. And where will you get that confidence? When you actually make an effort to learn about it, when you are willing to make that mistake, and you know how much worth that mistake is going to be? Not a very big amount, believe me. I'm sure pre-COVID days, we all went out for watching movies. We all went out to have a meal with our friends or family. We all went out to have coffee. And a meal or a movie or a coffee date would perhaps cost you anything between 1,000 to 3,000 rupees for one outing for a maybe a group of 2 to 4 people, depending upon which place you go. I think 1,000 for sure we'll spend when we go out,
Yes.
right? Just let go of one such date and see the magic, and use that amount to invest to make that mistake which generally women shy away from, to get your confidence. So the cost to get back your confidence is only 1,000 rupees or maybe even 500 actually. And just do this for a month or for a year, which means 1,000 into 12 is 12,000 rupees, right? Bulk में देखेंगे तो लगेगा oh 12,000 is a lot of money that I'm letting go of. But imagine if that 12,000 actually grows, then you'll feel good about it. Then maybe instead of one outing, you can have two. You'll be able to be so confident along with being independent that you will say, why did I not do this before? So For all of you who thought that there is some technical gyan that I'm going to give here, I don't think there is, that's really needed. Because as I explained, budgeting आप कर रहे हो, emergency fund आप create कर रहे हो, goal setting आप कर रहे हो, आपको सिर्फ और सिर्फ थोड़ी सी टेक्निकल नॉलेज गेन करनी है फाइनेंशियल एसेट्स की, और वो कहाँ, कैसे आप उसको उनके बारे में समझ सकते हो, और उसके अंदर का रिस्क क्या है। अब रिस्क की क्योंकि बात की है, तो अब रिस्क तो हर चीज में होता है। यू आर क्लाइंबिंग अप और डाउन द स्टेयर्स, देयर इज रिस्क। गिर गए तो सीढ़ी चढ़ना छोड़ देंगे। लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम अगर सीढ़ी टूटी हुई है तो नहीं चढ़ोगे ना, क्योंकि पता है गिरोगे। If you enter into a dilapidated building, you know that this building can fall anytime. You know, we'll be a fool to walk in there. But ones who do will calculate the risk कि भैया कब गिर सकती है, उससे पहले मैं जाऊं और अपना काम करके निकल आऊं। दैट इज वेरी सिंपली रिस्क, कुछ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है। लेकिन आप रिस्क को समझने की कोशिश तो कीजिए। आप अंधाधुंध तो नहीं रोड पे चलने लग जाते हैं। आप देखते हो कि भाई रेड लाइट है, ग्रीन लाइट है, क्या सिचुएशन है, कितना ट्रैफिक है, क्या नहीं है। तो अगर आप ये सारी चीजें कर रहे हो, एक ही तो चीज और करनी है, थोड़ी सी टेक्निकल नॉलेज लेनी है कि फाइनेंशियल एसेट्स कौन कौन से हैं, उनके इनहेरेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या हैं, और मेरी रिस्क लेने की क्षमता के हिसाब से इनमें से कौन से ऐसी एसेट क्लास होगी जिसमें मैं इन्वेस्ट कर सकता हूं या कर सकती हूँ, और किस तरीके से मैं इन्वेस्ट कर सकती हूँ। That's the only thing left for you to know. And I'm sure if you reach out to the service provider, there are many who will guide you. All you need to be wary of is that nobody should fool you. And that can only happen if you do your own reading, research, and the same thing that you tell your kids. बेटा पढ़ लो, अच्छे से समझ आएगा टीचर क्या बोल रही हैं। बेटा पहले से होमवर्क क्लास का जो कल मैम चैप्टर पढ़ाएगी वो पढ़ के जाओ, क्वेश्चंस पूछ पाओगे सही तरीके से। द रूल ऑफ द गेम इज द सेम, एंड दैट्स द ओनली थिंग दैट आई वांट टू शेयर, दैट investment is all about you. Investment is very logical, it's very basic, and it definitely is not a man's world, because these common sense, these basic skills we all have. Would you agree with me, or you have a different opinion?
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. Uh, may I share my experience? I've got two
Yes,
kinds.
please.
Okay.
Please.
So once, like every other woman, I also am a part of a couple of kitties, ladies kitty. Okay. So I went there just for the sake of having some fun with my friends as well as saving some money. So in year 2007 मेरी किटी निकली और उसमें 25,000 rupees मुझे मिले. So I had two options, either to buy myself a piece of jewelry or some nice sari, or to invest it somewhere. So in 2007, I wasn't aware about mutual funds. And I had no one like Ekta to guide me. And I often repeat to Ekta, why didn't you meet me before? I would have been a richer woman. So जो सबसे कन्वेंशनल और सेफ मेथड था एफडी में मैंने डाल दिया. ठीक है, आज मेरे पास वो 25,000 रुपए 68,000 रुपीज बन चुके हैं.
Wow.
Patience, of course, going the conventional way, trading safely on my path, and managing to more than double that amount. Okay. And then once I made a huge mistake also. I have been in real estate, so I got a brokerage of 1.25 lakh rupees. And I asked my husband, what should I do with it? He said, this is your money. Do whatever you want to do with it. And I said, okay, let me buy some policies. और वही हुआ, मैं अपना होमवर्क करके नहीं गई थी. I will not name that bank and that agency. They came, they took the checks and मेरे signatures करा लिए, और उसके बाद में I lost the whole money.
Oh my God.
Okay. But still, my husband said, hey, you tried now. You are allowed to fail. You'll be more cautious next time. उसके बाद
Perfect.
फिर और देन और बिंदास हो गए. आई टोल्ड माय डैड, पापा आई लॉस्ट सम मनी. पापा कहते हैं मनी, यू जस्ट ट्राई प्लेइंग विद इट. हो गया, नहीं हुआ नहीं हुआ, डोंट, डजंट मैटर. यू शुड फील स्ट्रॉन्गर नाउ because you should learn from your failure. So
Absolutely.
I've got two examples to
Wonderful.
share.
Thank you so much for sharing. In fact, one of my clients, uh, and I share her example in almost all my sessions because I really have lot of regards for her. Not because she is, just my client. God bless her soul, she's not alive anymore. But she, at a very young age, became a widow, and because of that she had to take charge of the business, and she came from a very very well to do family and very wealthy also. She had to manage the business, she had to manage the kids, and she had to manage the family investments also. She took control. Of course, again, like I said, we women actually come in action when an eventuality hits us. But having said that, in order to keep control on things, she one understood the business and everything. She went ahead to do a course on portfolio management from one of the reputed institutes in Mumbai. And then she read and read and became an encyclopedia of the stock market. Men would, I don't want to be uncouth, but nobody could stand in front of her if you were not knowledgeable. She would ask you questions that you could not even imagine. And if you were not prepared, God bless you. There wasn't an employee in the bank who wanted to be her relationship manager because everybody knew she can ask you anything. And if you forgot to give her an information which was not intentional, but it slipped your mind, hell would break loose. But what that woman taught me was, she was my client eventually. I was the brave soldier of the bank who was given the charge to deal with her. And let me confess, she gave me nightmares. I was willing to quit my job because of her. She was such a terror. But what she taught me was be upfront, give the right information, have an approach of mentoring, and the more information you will give, even if it is this much, is inconsequential, but give it. Even if the client knows the information, give the information, because that will help the person understand things in detail. That was a great lesson that I learned from her. And without being modest, when I quit that organization, she wanted to try her best to get me retained over there. And when I said that, no, ma'am, the decision is being done, she was willing to move with me wherever I went. And she did. So the power lies within us to break those biases that are there in our minds, be it money matter or any other bias that we have. Since the theme for the International Women's Day this year is break the bias, I think it is important that each one of us look within and actually ask ourselves, did someone stop us to manage our investments? Did someone tell us that you can't do it? Nobody but us. Then just go for it. And trust me, there are many like me who are more than happy to talk to you, guide you. There is so much of information that is available across platforms, be it on podcast, be it on Google or anywhere. And this phenomena of women not managing their money is not specific to India. Let me also tell you that it's a world over phenomena. And I'm glad that all those thoughts that I'm sharing with you are similar thoughts that are shared in the Western part of the world also. Because the concept of managing money is gender neutral, age neutral, strata neutral, location neutral. And I, for that matter, even the amount of money doesn't matter because the rule of the game is still the same. Whether you invest 500 rupees or 5 crores, you have to do your homework. Because for someone, 5 crore may be a big amount, but for someone, even 500 may be a very big amount. I started my investment with 500 rupees. And it really mattered to me at that time. because that's all that I could save. I was working independently, managing all my expenses. So, ladies, to not make this a very long conversation, I think we're already 45 minutes into this, and not to make it a very, very lengthy one, all I urge each one of you is to think about this. Talk to your friends, talk to your family members, talk to any woman who you know, and just guide her that, you know what, take that first step. The rest will be taken care of. And thank you so much for being here. If there are any questions specifically that you would like to ask, I am more than happy to answer. This definitely wasn't a training session that I usually do at Manaswell page. But if you women are wanting to, are ready to get into the nitty gritties of it, to understand the nuances of it, how to plan, how to create your portfolios, how to do goal setting, how to do budgeting and everything, I am more than happy to engage and create those awareness modules, do a group session, provided there is a commitment that we women are wanting to give to ourselves. That's all I'd like to say. If there's any question, I'll be very happy to answer. Anything, Ila, Rina, Ruhi, Rekha?
I won't ask anything because I'm going to take your help anyway. So my questions will be there.
Sure, I'll be happy to do
Same
that,
here.
Rina.
Same here. Even I'll be
Yeah,
wanting your help to go ahead with it.
wonderful. And I,
Surely.
any which ways, keep eating Ekta's head all the time.
Most welcome. And Rekha also, I have known her husband for a
Yeah.
while, and I must thank Mr. Vyas. He was my colleague in my very first job, and to keep that trust for so many years, almost 21 years, is really, thank you, Vivek. Thank you so much for that. And thank you, Rekha. Any questions?
I think I'm same year with them that I have to learn more about it, and I'll be joining more of such sessions with you. So looking forward.
Superb, superb. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
I hope we are breaking this myth collectively together. And thank you everyone who joined us on Facebook and YouTube. I think Manus Wealth is soon going to resume the regular sessions on financial awareness. We took a pause, a really long pause, because we also wanted to kind of rethink that, are these sessions really making an impact? What is it that we need to do different? Perhaps old wine in a new bottle is going to come back, because the concept, the content remains the same. But now I want to talk to more women who are willing to come and share their thoughts with us. And let's look forward to, kind of enjoy this journey. So thank you so much,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for being here. It was really lovely interacting with all of you. I know it was a little lopsided, but I'm sure soon we'll have a lot of you sharing your experiences, your
Absolutely.
views, and everything, coming and coming here and talking to all of us. Thank you and take care. Stay safe till we all meet
Thank
again.
you, Ekta.
Thank you, Ekta.
Thank
Bye bye,
Bye.
you.
lovely ladies. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye
Bye.
bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you.